Hey all, it's Nim or Nimicry if you're feeling professional, and welcome to the video. Today we're going to be doing a review of the demo. So first off, we're going to talk about our settings, systems, gameplay, and I'm going to end with a few things that I think need to be improved. Should be a pretty quick video. That being said, if you're new here and you like what I do, go on and hit subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with everything the channel does. But without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome, my friends, to Lies of P. The first question that you need to ask yourself when playing this game was, did you ever want to play as Timothée Chalamet in a Dark Souls-style game? If so, congratulations, you're playing Lies of P. If not, well, congratulations, you're playing Lies of P. As for the setting, you start off in a place called Krat. It's a kind of a German European town where Bloodborne was very much Victorian-themed, or, Gotham by Gaslight if you want to use a comic book reference. Lies of P definitely takes place in Europe. Now, I would say, probably German, since Pinocchio is a German folktale. But you can see a lot of gas lamps and various things. We lock on, we fight, we have a good time. I decided to go for this playthrough with the rapier. Now, there are 3 weapons at the very beginning that you can choose from. And I do mean, like, the very beginning. I think you walk down the hallway. I won't show that because, quite frankly, you can find it yourself. And it's about 30 seconds into the game, so I think you'll be fine. Legion arm comes back. So the setting is, I've turned the brightness up on these settings because of the fact that generally I find the Souls games to be a little too dark. But let's go take a tour a little bit here and through this. For the record, I've already beaten the demo on this particular character, so we won't see any actual bosses. But you can take a look and see kind of the despair. So keep in mind, in this setting, you wake up, you have to save Geppetto, and then the game starts properly. In order to do that, you have to get to him. And there are 2 tragedies that have befallen Krat. The first is the Puppet Frenzy. The second is the Petrification Plague. Now, we don't find much about the Petrification Plague, but there is a district in the game that says, hey, watch out for that. Simple enough. You start off in a train station. Actually, I'm heading to the entrance right now. That train is the very beginning of the game. So as you can see, it's rainy, it's damp, it's dire, it's dismal. Other adjectives that begin with the depressing, perhaps. However, in this setting, it is also quite nice. As we saw, if we go to the Hotel Krat, which is our hub base, think of the Nexus, or Firelink Shrine, or the Hunter's Dream, you get to see a lot of this beautiful architecture. The art team that did this should absolutely be paid extremely well, especially for a new IP. So let's take a look here. Use the Stargazer. Stargazers are like your bonfires. So we'll go here, we'll go to Hotel Krat, our home base. Ultimately, it is kind of a deep and dank setting. They do have weather effects, and it'll state the weather effects when you get to a new area. Based on the demo, we don't know if that actually will affect certain things such as drop rates, story progression, other things, so let's keep that in mind. But with that, let's talk about the systems. Now that we've talked about the setting, let's talk about the gameplay systems. So obviously, health bar, stamina bar, those are pretty self-explanatory to anybody who would play a Souls game. Those 3 blue bars underneath, however, those are your Fable points. Think of that as like weapon techniques, skills, things like that. And I have 3 of them currently. If you look at the bottom left of my screen, you will notice there are 2 little icons. One says Y and one says LB and Y. One is the skill of the blade, one is the skill of the hilt. So that's right, each weapon can have 2 weapon skills. And they have a commiserate cost. How do we get Fable points? We can either use a consumable item, or we can attack enemies. So let's show that off first. And those weapon arts seem to be pretty powerful. 706 damage there. Now that did use all 3. So as we head up this way to go have a little bit of a fight, lock on, of course, and tap, 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 dodge. As you can see, if you look at the top left-hand corner of my screen, you'll see that the Fable points are starting to build back up. However, I don't even have access to my special guard counter, so I need to be careful when using that. I often try to use those on bosses. Now, we've talked about combat. There's loot. Obviously, like any Souls game you pick up, there's loot. You need equipment. You need various things. So how do we do that? Well, we can pick up our basic items, which is our grinder, our healing item, which is our Estus Flask, but this is in case it's called a Pulse Cell. Then we have thrown items for various weaponry, and of course our gain level items, where it's like, oh, I need more currency to spend to level up. You'll notice that there is a meter in the lower right-hand corner of my screen. That is my weapon durability. If that reaches 0, my weapon breaks. But you come equipped with built-in restoration, much like weapon sharpening stones in Monster Hunter. Right there. We're now back. My weapon is sharp, and I'm ready to keep fighting. I can build up more Fable points if I need to, but I'm just gonna go back to the Hotel Krat, use the Stargazer, and show you more of the system. So let's teleport, go back to Hotel Krat. And of course, this is going to be a really good game. It's not perfect, but it's going to be a really good game. Especially because there are things that I'm not showing you that are kind of plot sensitive, so keep that in mind. But as there are two other systems to mention here real quick. There is, of course, the leveling up via Sophia, who we will talk to. I thought she was over here. Sophia, where did you end up at? It's our old matron lady. Where did Sophia end up at? I don't know. Well, we'll look for Sophia in a bit. Here we have Eugenia.
I know my way around a weapon.
She does all of our upgrades. So if I wanted to, say, upgrade my weapon or my hilt, I talk to her. I give her the commensurate amount of ergo and, of course, the various materials. In this case, it's Hidden Moonstone. Obviously, as you go up in quality, rarer materials, more rare materials. Each weapon has their own base stat. I went with Technique, which is essentially Dexterity. Ah, there's Sophia. So, okay. Let's take a look here. And we'll talk to Sophia.
I'll use my power to help.
Let's level up. So I'm just going to increase my... let's increase my Technique. Why not? And there we go. I've now just leveled up. We're good to go. I now do more damage. And those are the systems. Weapon upgrade, resource building, weapon restoration, and leveling up. Let's talk about the gameplay. So, as it comes to gameplay, we have basic hack and slash, right? So, we just hack. I've got a light attack. I've got a strong attack. I've got dodge. And I've got parry. So, pretty simple. You kill enemy, hit enemy with a stick, then pick up resources, repeat, try not to get hit yourself. It's pretty standard Souls gameplay. There's nothing really new here, outside of the fact that I would say that the puppet arm is a fairly cool twist. So, if you'll notice, my left arm is mechanical, right? Left trigger, left arm. That can be outfitted in a Devil May Cry 5 fashion with many different abilities. Your basic one starts off as just a fist. It's a very strong punch. Then, of course, the puppet string is the second one you get. And through at the end of the demo, and of course later on in the full game you'll get more, you get one that is electrified. I prefer the puppet string, personally, just because it allows me to pull enemies to me in a scorpion-like fashion of, get over here! Don't sue me, Warner Brothers, that was a bad impression. So, then, of course, you will fight bosses. There are traps. This game does seem to rely a lot on ambushes, a little bit more than the standard Dark Souls. But it's okay. That's forgivable. This is, again, it's a new IP, so we try not to worry so much. But yeah, So you'll notice, like, without, there was three visible enemies, now there's 4. And only 3 of them were only visible if you were kind of paying attention. So this game does reward paying attention. As you'll notice, too, I have 1 blue bar left, or I have 1 blue bar completely filled up on my Fable meter, so now I have access to my special counter, which is that. It's that motion, but I hit something, and then it pushes them off. The perfect parry and the special counter are very useful in the game. I've not been able to pull off the perfect parry, but or the special counter. So now I've noticed taking a little bit of health damage, right? We use our pulse cell, and I heal. More importantly, like Bloodborne, you can do that while walking, which is good. And when I run out of charges of my pulse cell, I can attack enemies and gain more. Only up to 1, though. So, if you're completely out of healing items, you're not completely screwed on that run. You can keep going. So, gameplay-wise, I'm going to be honest with you, it's not anything groundbreaking. It is good. So, we'll take that for what it's worth and go from there. Also, like any other Dark Souls game, you can unlock a lot of shortcuts and such. Finally, I want to talk about the flaws in the game. Things that probably need some work. So I said this wasn't a perfect game, and I stand by that. It's a pretty good game. It's definitely an excellent demo. But this game does have an over-reliance on traps. The backstab is nice, but you gotta be dead on and really close. So I think that should be fixed. And, of course, there are 2 other things here. The dodge and the parry, right? So, like, I don't... The dodge seems to be a little slow. And also, I think you get exactly 1 iframe. So, maybe that'll change with adaptability like you had in Dark Souls 2. But, ultimately, I think that it could be a lot better. And then, the perfect parry, right? So when I pull off a perfect parry, and I'll try to do it, I won't be able to do it here, but maybe with the next enemy that pops up, there's one up here. So let's give that a try. I'll pull off a perfect parry. Nope. That's not. Come on, swing at me, dude. Trying to show something off. Nope. Okay, so that right there is probably the problem. Right, the parry timing is off. It feels weird. It doesn't feel unified with any other Dark Souls game. Now I've pulled it off and did so earlier in this video, but it doesn't feel as good, or it doesn't feel as natural. Now I'm sure with more practice and actual things I'll be fine, but that's something that I wanted to throw out there. Is that the game has an over-reliance on ambush. It also has the dodge needs to be a little bit more generous, and the parry system, I think, needs to the parry system needs to be a little bit more generous, too. In addition, this room right here, this room was the room where I died the most in the demo. I died the most here. I didn't die to the bosses. I didn't die to the environment. I died in this room, because through this hallway, and it doesn't respawn somewhat gratefully, there's a giant police puppet. That police puppet drops. Let's go to my equipment. That police puppet drops a police baton. You can perfect parry his swings, and he continues his attack combo. Which, okay, when you parry somebody, you push them off balance, and that's why the riposte does more damage, because they're open, and then you can hug their chest with a sword, like, hello, friend. Not him. And I don't know how many other enemies will play that. So, again, I think they need to fix the dodge, maybe increase the iframes a little bit, or give it a slightly longer range. They need to fix the perfect parry, either make it interrupt an attack string, or have a slightly more generous window. I think they need to maybe not rely so much on traps, but eventually you learn that, so that's kind of a minor thing. Anyways, so, all in all, TLDR, what's happening? I know we're at the end of the video, so it's a little weird for TLDR. Liza P. I recommend it if you like Souls games, and if you want something new in the Souls game genre. You know, a new game, if it scratches the same itch that a lot of Souls players really like scratched. I don't recommend it if you don't like challenge, right? Because this game is, there are times where it's fairly hard, and I've beaten the demo here a couple times, so I'm kind of familiar with it. I don't recommend it if you want, kind of an uncomplicated story. Because right now I'm still trying to figure out, okay, what's going on with the Alchemists, the Stargazers, Sophia, Geppetto. There's like 6 or 7 different plot threads to fall down. And then, of course, also Pinocchio, P, the character I'm playing as, has the ability to change all of that. So keep that in mind. Ultimately, I'm going to be picking this up when it comes out. And I want to mention 2 things. One, optimization-wise, this ran very, very well. I had very few bugs and frame rate issues and things. So for a demo, that's fantastic. I'm sure the game will follow the same route. The other thing I'm going to say is that in an era where games are $70 base price, for a company to release a demo to show off how good it is, or potentially how bad it is a ballsy move and deserves applause. More game companies should do that, because I am absolutely tired of paying $70 for nonsense. Anyways, if you like the video, please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, do whatever it is that you want to do, all those YouTube metrics. I am working on trying to get to 14,000 subs, and we'd like to up that watch time if at all possible, so if you like what I do, feel free to follow. Also, for those who want to go above me on the Call of Duty, there is the Patreon, and there'll be a link down below in the description, as well as it's spelled out on the screen. I had a fun time making this video, and I had a really fun time with this game. I hope you enjoy Lies of P.